I'm here in San Diego, California, and I brought the worst weather with me from Illinois. It snowed, it's rained, it's foggy, but that's not going to stop me from giving you a quick review on this car. Now, this is an important vehicle to Kia, largely because, well, nobody else does a car like this anymore. They've kept it weird, they've kept it quirky, they know who the people are that want to buy this, and they haven't screwed it up. So that's what we're going to cover, how they've made it so much better than the previous generation, and the things that they've added that people have asked for. So let's take this for a drive. Oh man, this thing is lit. This is the brand new Kia Soul X-Line, which means it's rugged because they give you the CUV, SUV-like exterior with the unpainted plastic trim, which, okay. But you also get the option of having the more performance-oriented model, the GT, which has everything painted on the exterior, and it looks so much better. And you can really see the difference it makes, the unpainted and the painted, to kind of judge what you like better, and there is an option between the both. Now, let's get into the looks of it, because the Kia Soul has always been about being quirky, weird, different, and it has a personality, which is why I've always liked it. And you may think it is the most disgusting, disfigured looking vehicle out there, but people like it. They legitimately like it because it's not trying to be this cookie cutter SUV, CUV, where manufacturers are just copying everybody else. So it does have a soul, and I do like that about it. Once you get over the exterior part, clearly you're going to want to know about the interior space, and that's what this is about, the usability, the practicality of it. And it is really good. There's a ton of space in here. It feels much more roomy than the previous generation. The seats fold down in the back, but unfortunately it's not flat. It's not a flat cargo area back there. There is kind of a cut in the floor so things don't slide around. But I feel like, and I know this is funny, I just did a video on the PT Cruiser, and you know, nobody likes that car. Well, a lot of people like it, but you look at the usability of the interior space with all the seating configurations, and I feel like the Soul needs more of that. It needs to be more like the Honda Fit, and I think that's the only disappointment for me in terms of interior configurability. But pretty much everything else is super comfortable. The seats are far more comfortable than they were in the Forte, and you have this cloth option on the cheaper model. It's vastly more quiet than the previous Soul. It rides way better. The previous Soul, and I know a lot of people didn't buy it for like ride quality or speed or any of that, but when you get behind the wheel of this compared to the previous one, it's night and day difference. It rides so much better that it's definitely a worthy upgrade for that, along with the styling. This is a far superior body structure. They're using more structural adhesives. It's a more rigid body, but sadly, they still have a torsion beam rear end, but I would say 99% of people buying this would never even notice it, because I barely have, and it's just a testament to how good their body structures are getting. Now, the last part to talk about is the engine and transmission, and I talked about this in the Forte. And the Forte is identical as this, the 2-liter that is port injected only with a CVT that they call an IVT. Same thing. The only thing that is different about it is their programming of the shift logic. They don't want it to just hold gears. They want it to fake shift, and it is one of the most natural feeling CVTs you're going to get into despite any price range. It's better than the Toyota in terms of feel. It's better than the Nissans, which feel like just horrendous, and it's way better than the Hondas. So I think, from a drivetrain perspective, I have zero problems with this CVT in here, and I think most people are going to not even know that it is one. It's a really good design in terms of fuel efficiency. It's going to help you as well. It's your typical Kia kind of like way oversensitive steering to give you the feel that you're driving something far more sporty and capable than you are. But I think it's good because there's a lot less effort that's required to get this car to turn in general. So it is going to be a wow factor. The other thing you're going to notice is the brakes are a little bit more touchy than the previous Soul. When you get into it, I mean, it's not the most linear brake pedal feel, but I think people are going to like the confidence that it supplies. And pretty much everything else is what you expect from a modern Kia. There's simplicity here. Your parking brake, it's manual. There's no electronic parking brake. Your HVAC controls, all manual, no digital crap. You turn a knob to turn up your fan speed. You turn a knob to adjust your hot and cold. I mean, everything is as simple as possible, and all the physical controls are great. And I think, first impressions and just the small driving I've done in this, I think you're really going to like it if you love the Soul, and if you want something extremely more, if you want something that has more personality and everything else, this is what you get in an affordable package. But I'm going to get out of this thing and get into the turbo model to talk about that. How the fuck are we in a snowstorm in California? I would have never came out here if I would have known this. Okay, so here's the highlights. The steering is extremely quick. I feel like it's identical to that in the lower trim level with the non-turbocharged motor. It feels very confidence-inspiring. It feels very quick light on its feet. It's quick to accelerate. It gives you everything that you want in this extremely practical package. And this is one of the first Kias I've been in recently that doesn't ride overly firm. I feel like they've got the right balance here where it's not really bouncy. It doesn't jerk or jounce or crack your skull every time you hit a pothole or a bump. This is definitely one of the better riding, cheaper Kias, so that's kind of what I'm getting at. Now, everything that was good about the X line is good in the GT. There's just more of it. You have a bigger infotainment screen, and the black levels are really good. I'm pretty sure they put an IPS panel in here. The contrast levels are really good, and you notice it immediately when you look at it. The whites are good. The grayscale's good. The colors are vibrant. And I think it's going to, it's one of those things you're going to notice coming from the cheaper version. If you value this in a car, get this model with the bigger screen. The other thing is you get the sound mood lamp option where you can change the color of the LED interior lights and it will pulse through your music like the previous generation did. So I'll cover the pros and the cons and the GT line. The infotainment screen is far superior. It looks better. I feel like the overall dynamics that you get from driving this, because of the transmission, because of the engine, if you have the money, this is a way better driving experience. But the thing is, I don't feel like most Kia Soul owners care about that too much. They don't value speed and handling and agility. So I think you're going to get a lot of what you want out of the base model with less complication. Yes, it is a CVT, but it's one of the best CVTs. The engine is far less complicated. You have port injection, no turbos, or a turbo, and you're going to get better fuel efficiency with it. I'm almost positive. As soon as you start driving the turbo cars faster, your fuel economy goes from pretty good to like absolute crap in short order. So I think a lot of people are going to find the balance in getting the cheaper model, and you're still getting everything that you want about it. The seats are good, it still rides good, you get the practicality, you still get the style aspect. It's up to you. But let's get into the final thoughts before I fly off the road in the snowstorm. Final thoughts on the new Kia Soul. And during these press events, they're designed to give you a taste of the car before they hit dealerships. So you don't get more than 3 or 4 hours behind the wheel. And that's just not enough for me to disseminate the good and the bad of it. But what I can tell you is I was in the past 2 generation Kia Souls, and my biggest issue with them is they felt like they were built to a price point. They felt like kind of tin cans when you got in them and drove them. They didn't handle the best, the ride quality really was choppy, and they didn't give you a lot of confidence to just pilot it. And all of that has been fixed here, and a lot of it has to do with the front half of this being built on the Kia Forte platform, and the back has been modified to give you extra cargo capacity. And if you saw my Kia Forte review, you'll know right away how solid that car feels, and it carries over to the Soul. It is much more quiet, it's less buzzy, it's super confidence inspiring driving it, and I've had it over every pavement type, both the GT and the X trim, or basically the lower trim level. They both handle great. And you can really push these cars, and they don't get they don't get messy. They're super way more comfortable than they used to be, and a lot of it is just they're quieter. You don't have the noise and the buzz fatigue that they used to. So I think that's the biggest selling point of the new one. And then of course, I talked to the product planner and I asked him, hey, what was your goals here? And he said, well, they did focus groups with owners in the Chicagoland area and California and found that the people that own them love them to death. So they took all their complaints and kind of funneled it into this without totally destroying what made the Soul unique. It's still super unique. The exterior styling and the interesting designs on the interior, like the illuminated speaker grills or the LED color changing interior grills that react to your music that you're listening to. Stuff like this is really creative, and I feel like that's what's lacking in a lot of cars. Cars have gotten so bland and cookie cutter that they're all the same, and that's why the Soul is kind of special. They took everything that worked and just made it way better. So if you're in the market for this car, I'm pretty confident to say that you're gonna like this. There's really no reason why not to upgrade if you have a previous generation one. It's just a lot more to like. You have a turbo motor, which I don't think people really need. The 2 liter is quick enough, and the CVT is great in this car, and you're gonna get better fuel efficiency, just more reliability out of it for the most part. It's less complication. So that's my takeaway from this car. I'll get you a full review pretty soon. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you later.
This savage geese, I hate him, I hate him. I'm gonna show you how to get back at him on Yelp and all that other stuff.